Are you out of your fucking mind?
Warning. This video may contain graphic language, graphic violence, gross cartoon penises, and a whole lot of Pimpy the pimp-ass pimp showing motherfuckers what's up. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah, are you out of your fucking mind is right. Every time I try to keep people grounded, something will pop up in the news, and then I gotta start this all over again. It doesn't help when you have somebody like Gina Thomas, which is Clarence Thomas's wife. We find out that during the January 6th event, she was texting Mark Meadows, talking about the very things that these people out there in the NESARA GESARA and the 17th letter movement talk about, saying that a barge came and people were arrested and going to Gitmo. And I was like, are you kidding me? The assumption is because she's the wife of Clarence Thomas, she should know. Now, I heard she had a really close relationship with Mark Meadows. But as far as I know, Mark Meadows didn't have any text that we know of where he had the same beliefs. But Jeannie Thompson, for some reason, was a believer that indeed people were being sent to Gitmo. That's one thing. But now this. Wait till you hear this clip. You got to watch it all the way through to see what I'm talking about. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold, silver, or any other precious metals, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description, or just type in www.moneymetals.com/Pimpy. If you make a purchase when you follow that link, you will automatically be entered for a chance to win 10 free silver ounces. So get started today, and hopefully your stack will start to look like this real soon. So head on over, tell them Pimpy sent you. You can follow me over on other platforms. I do have my own group over on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. So head on over here and join us. It's free to do so. In here I do post updates if I should get on suspension from YouTube or get removed from YouTube and you want to know what happened to me, I'll let you know right here in this group. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and the cool thing about YouTube, if you come over here and you join and you find my channel, I got videos going back, I believe, a couple years. So if you want to see some older videos that I have on NESARA GESARA, gold, silver, cryptos, come on over here and join, look me up, and check out my videos. You can also find me on Odyssey, catch me on Rumble. When I say that the links for all these are down below in the description, some of you don't know what I'm talking about. It's real simple. Just go down to the bottom right here of any of my videos. See this? This is the description. Hit show more. And there are all the links to all the platforms I just spoke about. So if you do want to head on over to Money Metals, just click it. And there you are. So come on over. Join us. I look forward to having you. A quick reminder, I will be in Vegas September 29th through October 1st for the Silver Symposium. I want to invite you guys out there to come join us. It's a pretty big event. When you show up, they will give you a 1 ounce silver round, so that's a good gift. But in addition to that, there are other opportunities for you to win a lot of precious metals. So come on out there and join us. If you use code Pimpy on there, you get a 10% discount. So 10% discount on the price as well as free precious metals. You can't go wrong there. There's going to be a lot of speakers that you're familiar with. This gives you an opportunity to meet, greet, shake their hand, ask questions, take pictures, whatever it is you want to do. So come on out there and join me for a drink. I look forward to having you. So first there was Jeannie Thomas with her text, and now this. I can't believe I'm seeing this on the news. Am I the one that's crazy, or are these people crazy? You got to hear this all the way through, because she is talking about subjects that are being pushed out there by the so-called truthers, the NESARA and 17th letter movement. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let me know what you think.
Well, let's talk to Jan Halper-Hayes, who's a US political analyst, and he's here in the studio. Good to see you, as always.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
There's so many people putting this down as a political conspiracy theory, but actually there are real questions to be answered here.
There are?
Yeah, of course there are. Of course there are.
What he's being accused of, but what part do you think is to answer that the 2020 election is going to be re-litigated because of this. They've made a huge, huge mistake with this one.
Oh, yes, they did. As soon as I found out that Trump was being charged for conspiring to defraud the U.S. over the election, I said there's no way the prosecutors, there's no way the special counsel could be this stupid. There's just no way. Why would you even try to charge Trump with these particular charges, knowing dang well by doing so, you open up the door for him to subpoena witnesses to come in. Now, here's where the problem might be. Understand that the judge that they are getting is an anti-Trumper. She was put to the bench by Obama. She has prosecuted and given a maximum sentence to everybody that was involved in the January 6th event. Is she going to be unbiased? Is she going to even allow Trump to subpoena people and bring evidence that he could not get into any courts before? People kept saying he lost a lot of court cases. I said, no, he didn't. People's cases were dismissed due to procedural, which is just BS. They never were allowed to bring in any evidence at all into court. The judges wouldn't allow it. So they dodged the bullet, they thought. By charging Trump with this defraud U.S. over elections, you have now opened the door for him to subpoena all kinds of people who are going to bring all kinds of evidence forward. And that is definitely going to relitigate what happened in the 2020 election. So I know there's a lot of people out there saying this is planned. And in this particular case, this might be planned. Maybe this Jack Smith guy isn't the boogeyman we think he is. Or maybe he's just so damn stupid that he made this error. Either way, it's a good thing for Trump. He is going to be able to subpoena people into court as long as the judge doesn't interfere and show proof of what happened during the 2020 election.
Because even though we thought what was going to happen was they were going to go after him for treason or sedition, but they did criminally charge him, but they didn't go to that extreme. As a result, he has due process, so he can subpoena people and bring things in. Now, let me say something about this 2020 election, is that Biden is the legitimate president, but he's the legitimate president of what is now the bankrupt U.S. corporation. And that was a treaty in 1871. Well, on September 12, 2018, Trump created an executive order. Within that, he outlined in future elections any kind of foreign or domestic interference, specifically for the 2020 election. So we say, how did he know some of these things were going to happen? Election integrity on both sides of the aisle is tough.
Here comes all the conspiracy birds right now. That Barron had a time-traveling machine. There was a book about Barron from the 1800s. I can personally vouch about one thing when it comes to Trump's family. Where I live, in the late 1800s, there was this thing called the, something like the Sonora Aerial Club or something like that. These people were individuals who were monitoring and keeping track of UFOs that flew around in these mountains right over here. And it's a real thing. They're out there. There's papers written up on them. Somebody drew pictures of all the UFOs they were seeing. And on one of the pictures, it has the name Trump going right through the middle of it. Kind of looks like a bus a little bit. And the number on the damn bus, now mind you, this comes from the 1800s. The number on the damn bus is 45. Now, you can think of that as you will. But did Barron have a time machine? Did he go back and forth? This just adds to all the crazy stuff that's being talked about out there, man. I'm just saying, especially with the book that says that Trump would be the last president.
It's really tough. But what this has done is it's opened the door for Trump to present his case.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Because, what we see on this side of the pond is a very difficult situation where the legal system is politicised in the United States, which is abhorrent to us over here. So the fact that Trump can subpoena, some people saying it's a mistake by Jack Smith, but actually he can subpoena, people can actually see evidence from both sides. That's a sensible move.
Exactly. And it's a great mistake by Jack Smith that he's done that. Absolutely great.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people are going, wait a minute, did he purposely do this? Does this mean he has a white hat? Maybe he does. Maybe he's one of the good guys. Or is he just that incompetent in this case?
Think about Edward Snowden and all the information he had. Think about the fact that our military, our Department of Defense Space Force, if you think that they don't have the actual real results from the election, then you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, but what we do know with this is we're told that there are plenty of notes from people, including Vice President Pence, that there are some recordings of Donald Trump acknowledging that actually what he said in public was nonsense. That some of these states, whether he claimed he was out saying look, Detroit, it's corrupt, it's all corrupt, the results are corrupt. And that when in reality he knew it wasn't. That's illegal.
But you know what? That's what someone's claiming, but that's not the fact, and that's not what Donald Trump really has ever said. He's been very, very clear. I mean, the issues were, for example, in Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court of the state of Pennsylvania stepped in and changed some of the election laws. Under our Constitution, it's only the state legislators that can do that.
She's wrong about how she's wording that. What happened was the election committee came in there and changed a lot of the laws, making excuses that has something to do with the RONA. They did like 3 different things that was totally against their state constitution. That's a big deal. So when they did make it to the state's Supreme Court, they turned a blind eye to it and allowed these laws to be broken. So that just shows you just how corrupt our judicial system is. When politicians openly and willingly violate these constitutional laws, and then the Supreme Court of the state allows it, that's a bad situation.
2,000 Mules, the film that came out, what they did, they spent over $4 million tracking the phones. And the reason it's only 2,000 mules is that based on the visits to the drop boxes in Georgia, they had to have gone over 10 times. And they've got all the film for that. So the thing is that the election integrity is so different and so problematic in every single state. But that doesn't mean that the machines didn't do something, that there were some other kind of finagling. But the long and short... Go ahead.
Well, it doesn't, but that's where conspiracy comes in, is it? To say, well, it doesn't mean that something didn't happen. Well, there's no evidence that it happened. I mean, there's how many court cases did the Trump campaign try to bring? Nothing's gone in his favour.
Okay, wait a minute. Everyone, the media goes, oh, there were 60 court cases that were rejected. No, there were 3. He won 2, he lost 1. 57 were never heard because they had no standing. And standing means that the person bringing the case has to claim some kind of impact or injury. So it's really, the media did that, and they're great at doing that, but it was a fallacy.
What she's saying is that the media lied about the court cases. It was better for them just to lie to the public and try to make Trump look bad by claiming that he lost 62 cases when in fact he didn't. Court cases were denied for procedural reasons. In other words, the people weren't even allowed to come in and give evidence to show that anything actually happened during the election. So I get it. Media is saying there is no evidence. That's because the real evidence has not yet been allowed to be shown to everybody. But with Jack Smith charging Trump with defraud over election, this opens the door now for evidence to be presented in the court case. Once it's presented, there's no hiding it. Other court cases could use this evidence as well.
And the thing is that, I sit on a task force at the Department of Defense. And the thing is, they've got the goods. They've got the goods. And Trump knew that if he presented any of the goods early on, we'd have a civil war. That he really felt that the people needed to see how bad it could get.
And that's the sense that we're getting from Trump's lawyer about what his defence is going to be. So this is all going to be based on free speech, the First Amendment in the US Constitution, that he had a right to say what he believed. And he believed that the election results were not as was put out. But the point is, if you live in a democracy and you believe in a democracy, then that means that even if you don't like the outcome of an election, you respect that because it's a democratic vote.
I made videos before about this. It's on Pimpy's News Network. The procedures that took place during that night when they were counting the electoral votes were legal. So them lying to you saying, oh, he had these fraudulent electoral people going there. No, you have to hear the whole truth. It's going to come out. Trump tried to overturn an election. He followed the law. The law says there are procedures that you can take if you believe for any reason that a state had committed fraud in the election. You got to be able to present it.
Well, a Democratic vote, and so therefore he should be silent about it.
No, he has a right to speak, but the issue, of course, is if he then acts to subvert that election result.
Oh, so that because you think he's being criticized because in Georgia he said, can you find me 12,000 votes? Or, you know, the thing is he didn't try to subvert anything. What he's really done is he set up the deep state to come out, and that's why we're seeing all these things. I mean, it was revealed with whistleblowers and Hunter Biden's ex-best friend that in 2015, the head of Burisma gave Joe and Hunter Biden $10 million bribe. In 2018, Joe is on TV publicly saying that he threatened that unless they got the prosecutor fired, that he wasn't going to let them have their $1 billion in support.
I remember going over convincing our team, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
You understand that what that means when they say they put in somebody solid? In other words, they put in one of their kind of people, is what he's saying. That's like a mafia talks that way. Hey, what about this person? Oh, they're a solid guy. You know, they're one of us. So he went and told the whole world that they removed the guy and then put in somebody that's solid.
In 2019, Trump calls Zelensky to find out about what went on to get the prosecutor fired, and he gets impeached. I mean, we've lived with it for a long time.
We're almost out of time. I just want to pick you up on one thing. You said earlier on, Donald Trump has been very clear on this. Is he a man that you believe? I mean, look, he's about as believable as a chocolate teapot, isn't he?
Look, I know that, thank God you got the negativity in at the end and not the beginning. I can always count on you for that, always.
But it's a legitimate point to say that Donald Trump is a man who always speaks the truth. That can't be the case. I mean, it's hardly the case of any leader, to be fair, but, I mean, definitely not Donald Trump.
Well, I don't know if I said everything or always, because I do call him the embellisher-in-chief, because he's a marketer. But in terms of telling us things, optics, you better believe that he's very much a straight shooter in terms of actions that he's going to take or what he thinks needs to be done. You know, they made fun of him because they assumed he broke protocol and walked in front of the Queen. No, if you go back and look at it, you will see he looked at her. She gave a wave with her hand. He proceeded. She took a couple of steps, he stopped, and he waited for her to join. That was an optic to tell us that he then was going to bankrupt the U.S. corporation because it was the Vatican, the Crown, and the U.S. that was part since 1871. And we were giving you our tax dollars. We were paying back. You know, forget this Tea Party and without taxation, without representation. We owed you a lot of money because you helped us in the Civil War. And so that is what Trump has now, he told the Queen, I'm ending this. We're dissolving this corporation. We're going to go back to being a republic and we'll all be separate. The Pope wasn't happy. You should find the picture of him visiting the Pope. It took 650 planes to remove our gold from the Vatican Bank.
I'm not very happy about it, Jan, to be perfectly honest. We could do with your money at the minute. Keep it flowing, I say. Jan Halper-Hayes, really good to see you. Thank you very much.
Wow. Did she go there? 650 planes to take our gold out of the Vatican. I've heard it was 17 miles of gold. I heard it was 1,500 miles of gold. I heard it all. A lot of you out there know who MonkeyWorks is. I'm wondering if MonkeyWorks has the ability to go back on his computer, on the software that he uses to keep track of planes. I wonder if it has the ability to go back in time. I wonder if he can see if indeed there was like 650 planes going back and forth from the Vatican, because that is something that would stand out big time. So if he has the ability to do that and MonkeyWorks said, hey, Pimpy, you know what, dude, here it is. There's 650 flights back and forth between the Vatican and us over here. There's where all the gold is. Then I would believe that. So yeah, that lady, she went down the wackadoodle path, but man, it is kind of weird that these people at these levels, this woman works for the Department of Defense, and she's an advisor there. And then you have Jeannie Thomas, who's the wife of Clarence Thomas. All of them regurgitating this crap that we hear all the time from the Nasera Jacera 17th letter movement people, the so-called truthers. But the other thing that caught my attention is when she said the Queen gestured, he went forward, he stopped and waited for her, and that was his way to let everybody know that we are no longer sending them the money. I was like, how did she get that out of that gesture? I don't know where that came from. Now look, I've been in politics. I've dealt with the government crap, and I can tell you this part. I can tell you that a lot of times those award shows are used for sending coded messages, all BS aside, to the people that need to know the message. I know that's real. That's a real thing. But this thing, man, this is crazy. I must be crazy. Maybe I'm the one that's crazy. You guys let me know what you think. This is the second person withstanding that is making these claims. You guys let me know what you think. That's it for now. I look forward to your comments. I'll catch you later. I'm out.